Hello everyone, I'm Rachel from the Innisfil Idea Lab and Library, and in today's Tinkershop tutorial we're going to learn how to design large vinyl decals. Now we're going to do two different versions. We're going to do one where it's just using our large. We're going to do two different versions. So today we're going to learn one how to create text and use silhouettes for our Roland regular vinyl cutter, and then we are also going to learn how to design large scale colored decals using our printing cut at the library. And we will be designing an Inkscape today, so let's get started. Begin by opening up your Inkscape program. You'll notice there is a white piece of paper in the middle of your screen, and this is known as your canvas. Now, whatever you design inside of this canvas will be captured by the screen, and whatever is outside of it will not be captured. Now, the first thing that I like to do is size my document properties. Now, I'll go up to the File button, click on File, and I'm going to go to Document Properties. Now I'm going to get an idea of how large I would like my vinyl signage to be. First, I'm going to switch it to IN for inches under Units. I'm also going to use my display units. I'm going to hit this drop-down menu and also select inches. Now we know that a foot is 12 inches, so for my width, for most of our vinyl rolls, they are 23 inches wide. And for our height, can be really as long as you'd like. It depends on what you're looking to do. So we'll also do 30 inches high. I'm going to close my window, and I'm just going to press my minus key to zoom out a little bit. So it may not look like it right now, but this is actually 30 inches by 23 inches. The next step is I'm going to create some text. I'm going to click on my text tool. I'm going to click anywhere on the canvas, and you can see this tiny little blinking line, and this is actually our cursor, so we can begin texting. Now I like my signage right now, my text, but I would like to choose a different font. If I go over to the right hand screen, there's a large T here. I'm going to select that, and you should be able to get a preview. Sometimes it becomes a little bit harder to see because we've made the text so large. So I'm going to shrink it back down for a second so we can see it a little bit better. In this menu above, you can click and see the different previews of what your font styles will look like. But beware, when choosing your fonts, you don't want a font that is too skinny. It makes it very difficult to be cut out of vinyl, and it can also cause some trouble later on. It can get caught up in the machines. So try to keep your font styles a little bit bold. They can be very creative, but keep in mind, skinny, curly fonts like this do have a hard time being cut out. After you selected your font styles, you're probably wondering, well, how do I know how tall and how wide is my lettering? If you go up to the top menu here, you'll see right now it is 29 inches and almost 9.5 tall. Now, if you want, you can click on it and you can rotate it and make it fit within your canvas. You can shrink it down and add some more text. Okay, so I've got some more text here, and if I want to make it the same font style as what I have above, just go back over to your text and fonts, and it should remember the last font you selected. So you can click Freestyle Script. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and click Apply, and that should change now my information here. I can stretch it out if I wanted to. I could also make it a little bit bigger. It really depends on what you're looking for in your font style. Now, if I wanted to change or add an image into this, I could also do that. Now, if we're using just the regular vinyl cutter, we are still looking for images that are black and white and silhouettes. I'm just going to go down to Google Chrome right now, and I'm going to look for some flowers. Now, I'm going to be looking for ones that have hard edges. Images like this would be okay. This one. Actual photographs don't work so well, so if you want to, you can either go to clip art or you can kind of see some other silhouette options. So I found my image. I'm going to right click on top of it, and I'm going to click on Save Image As. I'm just going to save it right to my desktop, and then I'm going to go back into my Inkscape program. So I'm going to go to File. I'm going to import my image now, and I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom. Click on my image, and I'm going to click Open. Now right now, this is an image, and you can see it's covering all my text that's behind it. We need to convert it in what's called a vector image. And how we do that is, where you're going to go up to the Path menu, click on Trace Bitmap, a new window will appear. Click on Update and click on OK. Now when you click and drag your image, you'll notice there's two, but the difference is this one's transparent. I can still see my text behind it. Another way to tell is if you go to the second arrow, it's called your Edit Path tool. When you select this, your image highlights all the nodes that are a part of it. Now what are nodes? Nodes allow you to click and manipulate parts of the design. You can also delete parts of it. All you would have to do is click and draw a box around a certain part of the object and those nodes and click delete. Now remove part of your image. I'm going to move this onto my canvas now and make it part of my signage. I can click and delete my old picture. Now I like this, but let's change the top text. So I'm going to click on my text by double clicking it. I'm going to hit backspace. Let's make this a little bigger and let's move this over a little bit. Okay. So our signage is almost complete and ready to send to the vinyl cutter. Now keep in mind, right now I have my file set that it'll only be cut out of one color. If you want to make it multiple colors, you have to remove one of your images and then save it as a different file in order for it to be switched. When you're using the vinyl cutter, it will only cut out of one color. But lastly, I'm going to group everything together and I'm just going to click and draw a square around everything. So now all of my three shapes are highlighted. And I'm going to go up to Object, and I'm going to click Group. Next, I'm going to go to my Fill and Stroke menu, and you can either keep it with just a fill for the vinyl cutter or just a stroke. It's up to you. But I like to actually remove the fill, go up to Stroke Paint, click the solid square, and you can see there's your lines right here. And then I like to go to Stroke Style and use the same cutting measurements that we use for the laser cutter, 0.001. It looks like our images have completely disappeared, but if we zoom in, we can still see our designs are here. Finally, when I'm all done and I put in my dimensions and my cut settings for my signage, I'm going to go and save it. And we're going to go up to File, Save As. We're going to name it, and I'm going to save it as an SVG format just in case if anything happens. And then I'm going to save it a second time. Except this time I'm going to click the drop-down menu and I'm going to select PDF, Portable Document Format. That's what the vinyl cutter will read. So click Save and click OK. Wonderful. So we've just made a giant large sign. So I'm going to actually highlight it and I'm going to bring back the fill for a second, just so I can see everything. I'm going to move this one off to the side. Now we're going to create a colored one that would be used for the printing cut. So when you're looking for images like this, it is best to try to use a PNG, but we can use a JPEG as well. Go to the Chrome menu, click on it. We're going to go up to the search bar, and we're going to look for a lion. I'm going to right click on top of it. I'm going to save this image as well. And I want to again make sure it's a PNG. So I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to go back into the Inkscape menu. So I'm going to do the same steps as before. I'm going to go to File, Import. I'm going to look for my image. I'm going to click OK. Now, we look for PNGs because right now they have transparent backgrounds. They actually don't have a background. It makes it easier for when we're trying to trace bitmap it and insert a cut line to use these file formats. So I'm going to move my lion inside my canvas. It might be really hard to get some of his hair here, but we're going to see. I'm going to shrink him down so he fits all the way in there. And I'm going to check again my measurements. So he's pretty big. He's about 28 and a half inches and 21 inches wide. Okay, now when you're using the print and cut, we're going to do the same steps as before using Trace Bitmap, but we're going to use a couple of other design features. So we're going to go back up to Path, Trace Bitmap. Now this time though, I want you to go to Brightness Cutoff, and we're going to up this about to 0.900. We want this to be completely blanked out, and there's a reason behind that. So when I hit Update, I can see that there's a line right now, but I can see some white dots. So I'm going to up it a little bit more, and now I'm going to hit OK. So right now we should see the line right here. Perfect. Now I'm going to remove my fill, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to add a stroke. Now we can see a very fine line here, For this project, I'm going to make it red so I can see it a little bit better. All these little tiny bits here. Now that's a lot of detail for our vinyl cutter to be cutting out. We can actually zoom out. And when I click just on the red line here, I'm going to go up to Path, and I'm going to click Dynamic Offset. Now you'll see this one node here, and this allows you to control, when you click and drag it, the cut line. So it kind of have a nice little white border around it. Now that looks wonderful, but there's some pieces right here that we're going to go around and we're just going to delete them because that will actually still be cut out when we go to send it to the vinyl cutter. So I'm going to go up to Path and click Object to Path. I'm going to click on my nodes here, and I'm just going to go around and start deleting them. This can take a little bit of time, but it is well worth it in the long run. If you want to manipulate your line, you can still do that. You can also add nodes by double-clicking on the line, and you can move it up and down. Now this is controlling your cut line. Now our last step is to take this line and to turn it into cut line. So we already have removed the fill, we've added a stroke, and then in stroke style, guess what number we put in? You guessed it, 0.001. Now it looks like our line's almost ready to get cut out. Just gonna go back to my move tool, and I'm gonna put a big square around everything just in case, and I'm gonna group it together. And then we do the same steps as before. We go up to File, we're gonna save as, I'm gonna hit save as an SVG, and then we're also gonna save it as a PDF. So File, save as, PDF. And hit OK. This Tinkershop is great for independent business owners who want to create some professional signage. This is also great for teachers and learners, or if you just want to gussy up your bedroom or any room in your house. But your imagination is the limit. And there you have it. You've learned how to create large signage on our vinyl cutter and for our print and cut vinyl cutter. Again, I'm Rachel from the Innisfil Idea Lab and Library, and thank you so much for joining us. Take care and have a wonderful day.